down to that big game, India versus Pakistan. And on the show with me this evening is senior cricket commentator Charu Sharma. We also have Andrew Collister, Australian Vice Consul, Prakash Vakankar, BBC commentator. We also have former Indian cricketer Ashok Malhotra. Welcome to the show. But before we dive into the discussion, let me show you a very interesting data on viewership in India-Pakistan matches. There on your screen, 273 million TV viewers tuned on to the India-Pakistan match, which was played in 2019 at the World Cup, and 50 million digital viewers watched the match. Now, Shane Warne, former Australian captain, said that perhaps he thinks about 1 billion people will be tuned on to this match today. Charu, let me open the discussion with you. What is the kind of viewing do you think this India-Pakistan match will have, given that, you know, the teams are meeting after 3 years and there is a genuine sense of anticipation?
Without question. You mentioned some millions sometime back, double that number easily. I think Shane Warne's on the button. Going to be an enormous amount of eyes or pairs of eyes on this match. Yes, the sporting world is split a bit because of lots of football action. There's a Classico, and you mentioned Man U and Liverpool as well, and many other contests. But, I mean, this is, you said it first, you opened by saying the mother of all battles. That's what I truly believe it is. It's a World Cup after all, so the match is very significant. I think a lot of Indian supporters do feel that India's record is magnificent against Pakistan in ICC tournaments, but, you know, they are a very, very good team. Anyway, you talked about viewership. I don't think there's anything, well, I think football fans might argue because of the FIFA World Cup, but this is possibly going to be the most viewed sporting event for a long, long time.
Yes, and I think my viewers will be very surprised to know that the highest viewership in sports is garnered by Tour de France. Over 3 billion people watch that event. Now, Prakash, coming over to you. Now, we talk about India,
Pakistan. Sorry, I beg your pardon. Now, that's collectively over a very long time. So we're talking about 1, 3, 3.5 hour burst. We can't talk about 2 weeks. Come on.
Yes, but that's the viewership data that is generated. India versus Pakistan in the few, I mean, they are not, that is not in the top 10 most watched sporting event either. That's what I was checking out. Prakash, let me come to you. You know, we've talked about India versus Pakistan being the mother of all battles. But lately, would you say that it has not lived up to the hype?
Well, it hasn't, unfortunately, has it? I mean, partly because they haven't really been as close or as nail-biting finishes in games as you'd like to see. You know, in classic battles that are held in the sporting arena, you tend to see very close fights, ups and downs, wins and losses. It hasn't happened. India, frankly, dominated in ICC events for a long time now. And one would hope that while the result wouldn't change, it will be a really, really close game, because that's what everybody wants to watch. And only then can it get to the level of being called El Clasico. I think here there is a big element of the fact that the two countries just don't play each other often enough. And I think that's part of the excitement, the rarity of the commodity, as it were.
Ashok, would you say that tonight perhaps is the night when Pakistan has a chance? Because if these two countries meet in longer formats of the game, perhaps Pakistan will have no chance against Team India. But given it is T20, given the way Pakistanis have performed in T20, they might just see this as a window of opportunity to get the better of India and make it perhaps 5-1.
Yes, there is an opportunity. The shorter format always gives a chance to the underdogs. There's no two ways about it. But one thing I'm sure of, both the countries will come to a standstill. Whatever Charu has said, I'm spot on. And Prakash, whatever he said is spot on. It is not El Clasico, but still somewhere along the line, the rivalry between the two countries, it is unimaginable. And both the countries, believe you me, everybody will be glued to the television. But as I said, in 80s and 90s, India, you know, there used to be good competition. But now, Pakis are the underdogs, if I may say. Because India is the #1 side in the world. But as I said, I will say that you can never underestimate them. And 2020 format is such, one good over, be it in batting, be it in bowling, can turn the game around. And as Virat said, there are some game changers. Although India has a lot of world-class cricketers.
Right.
And for Pakistan, except for Babar Azam, there are not very many world-class cricketers.
Since we have Andrew on the show, I have to bring up this topic about rivalries. You know, India and Pakistan being arch rivals. Of late, when India has not played Pakistan that many times, there have been talks about India-Australia being a better rivalry. Of course, yesterday I was talking to a few Pakistani journalists and they were saying that in the meantime, Pakistan hasn't found another rival. But what do you think? Who are the biggest rivals in world cricket today? Is it India, Pakistan, or is it India-Australia?
Oh, I think, and thanks again for having me on, Rika. I think on the field, you could say India-Australia, but I think there's nothing better than a traditional rival. I mean, as an Australian, I still love facing the English in the Ashes, even though the series probably haven't been as competitive as some of the Australia-India matches. So I'm really excited. I think, as has been pointed out, it's the rarity as well. We've got, again, the Classico this evening, Manchester United, Liverpool, but that happens at least twice a year, maybe more. This hasn't happened for a couple of years. And although you said there's a bit of a quality imbalance potentially on paper, the players won't feel that when they're out in the field this evening.
What do you think, Charu? Which is the biggest rivalry going around right now in world cricket?
Well, everybody is fighting for second, because it has to be India and Pakistan. Andrew, sorry about this, but you guys might have the drop on us in terms of history with your Ashes. But in terms of numbers and the kind of attention and the kind of passion that's involved, I don't think there's a rival in the world of cricket to India and Pakistan. And of course, add the rarity that we've all mentioned in terms of supply and demand. There's a massive demand and very little supply. So quite obviously, India, Pakistan, I mean, streets ahead.
Prakash, we'll also see an Ashes, mini Ashes maybe, clash next Saturday, England taking on Australia. Would you say this is a better game than that?
With due respect to Andrew, please. I mean, look, it'll be a good game, but you can't compare it. Charu put it very nicely. It's like two of the world's greatest teams in a rare occasion coming face to face. And look, if you're looking at it from a Pakistani point of view, this is an even rarer opportunity for them to be able to come out and really perform on the big stage, isn't it? I mean, for whatever reasons, Pakistan hasn't been able to participate as much as they ordinarily would have in international cricket. And for people like Shaheen Shah Afridi or Babar Azam or Fakhar Zaman, these are great. This is a great platform. The last big thing Pakistan did was win that Champions Trophy, wasn't it?
True.
And that is a boost for cricket in Pakistan. And any boost for any country, particularly Pakistan, is a boost for world cricket. Let's not belittle that at all.
Absolutely. And Pakistan Cricket Board's chairman said that it's not just for the fans, even for the comers of Pakistan cricket, to fill the coffers of Pakistan cricket, they need the team to win this match. Now let's talk about some of the players involved in the clash. Captain Virat Kohli, Indian captain Virat Kohli, said that he and his team would be wary of the game changers. Let me ask my director to bring up that graphic of the 3 Pakistani game changers that we put out for you. Top on the list will be Shaheen Shah Afridi for us, second Babar Azam, and third Mohammad Rizwan. Ashok, do you agree with that list, or do you have another list of Pakistani game changers?
I think you have to pick the really top-class cricketers. Babar Azam, Mohammad Rizwan and Babar Azam are the opening batters who can turn the game around. And Shaheen Afridi, we know what he has been doing with the ball. You know, if I may say, I wouldn't say a poor man's Wasim Akram, but because new age Shaheen Afridi. So definitely these are the top guys. And not to forget somebody like Mohammad Hafiz and maybe Shoaib Malik to a certain extent. So they have the people. They have the people who can turn things around, especially in 2020 cricket. Because 2020 cricket, it's a shorter format. It gives you underdogs an opportunity to upstage the favorites. So India will have to be a bit careful. And not to forget, it will depend on the opening pair. First 6 overs will turn whichever way the game goes. Be it bowling, be it batting. I think the openers for both the sides are top-class openers, Babar Azam and Mohammad Rizwan. And for India, Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul. If they can take advantage of the first 6 overs, things will be difficult for the opposition.
Andrew, what will be the matchup of the game for you? Would it be Shaheen Afridi versus KL Rahul?
Yes, no, I'd have to agree. I think, as was just said, the first 6 overs, whoever's batting first and second will be key. We saw that often during the IPL. And again, Shaheen Afridi, if he can tear through that Indian top order, that'll make things really difficult. But again, if KL Rahul and Rohit Sharma get on top of him early, then it could be a long way back. So, yeah, I think that's really going to be entertaining to watch. As you said, there's going to be a lot of pressure on whoever's batting first and the bowler as well, naturally.
Absolutely. Now, Charu, this one is for you. I have on the screen a list of 3 possible game changers from India: Jasprit Bumrah, KL Rahul and Ravindra Jadeja. At my own peril, I have left out Virat Kohli. But tell me, do you agree with the list or not?
Well, you haven't just left out Virat Kohli, you left out 8 other game changers for India because every single player...
Because I was picking 3 from each side. So
I know. But you've left one. I think Hassan Ali for Pakistan is a very key bowler because he's very, very clever with the ball, not just speed. So let's add that on the Pakistan side. Also, Shadab, their leggy can be pretty tricky. So, they've got plenty of game changers in Pakistan as well. But, I think it's just a feeling that I get. It's a question of wickets. And to me, yes, the first 6 overs matter a lot. But to me, they matter more in terms of not losing wickets because both the teams, the minute they break through, it's going to be a massive psychological advantage and people are going to push that hard. So if India are batting first, I don't know yet, then they need to make sure the first 6 overs, they don't lose any wickets because then they can power on. We got enough power all the way. And Pakistan too. The importance of this match is such that even Pakistan has included a 41-year-old and a 38, 39-year-old because they need that experience to calm everybody down. I think only one of them will play. We'll see whether it's Shoaib or Mohammad Hafiz. Both of them are the same. So in terms of off-spinning, batsmen. But I think, for Pakistan, there's much more, being the underdogs, I think they will certainly be less favorite than India. And if they make the breakthroughs, then that is what's going to increase their confidence and the whole psychology of the game will change. True. So I don't know how the Indians are going to approach it, but they need to make sure they don't lose wickets because then Pakistan will get right on top. And, keep the wickets in the end, you can accelerate pretty quickly.
While India starts as the favourites, Prakash, we have just about enough time to have one last comment on you on the game changers. In terms of Indian game changers, do you agree with my list of those 3?
I agree more with what Charu said, frankly, but in reality, the game changer for me is going to be the pitch. You saw what happened yesterday in Dubai, and I'm very concerned, frankly, as to what will be the nature of the pitch and how it will play, because if it turns out to be a low-scoring game, I think the bowlers will come to the fore, and I dare say Pakistan will match India in that respect much better than they would in the batting department.